To my mind, those conversations are best had without your child in the room when you're, really going to try to get someone to help you.
Mm-hmm.
I do think, a lot of those of us who are, high consumers of healthcare have our doctors, emails and our children's doctors' emails and their
Mm-hmm.
cell phones and, all sorts of things that probably most parents
Right.
out there don't have.
Like
and
we have on auto dialer, 10
yeah,
doctors.
and I think that's a really good place to reach out to providers and say, or when you go to your own annual healthcare visits, to talk about some of those things. And, because this is all part of remaining healthy. And those of us who have children who will need us for the duration of their lives, need us to be healthy in all aspects of that. And so, I know a lot of people who go to the gym because they're anticipating having to lift their adult children in and out of wheelchairs. And so they have to be strong.
Mm-hmm.
And just like that, we have to find ways to make sure that we're mentally strong, that we find ways to cope that work for us. And I think everyone is going to be different. Some people will find meditating helpful. Some people
Mm-hmm.
will find writing helpful. Some people will just find exercise helpful.
Mm-hmm.
For me, exercise and writing and having social interactions really have been the key for me to maintain stability.
Yeah, exercise and writing, some kind of creative outlet.
Yeah, but that's not necessarily going to be the thing for everyone. And
right.
Some people may need therapy, and there are online therapy options these
mm-hmm.
days, which I have not personally tried. And
I haven't either.
But I think there are some adaptive options that may exist and may become increasingly available.
I hope so.
And I think also remembering that our online communities are very important, but I actually just had a conversation with a friend from childhood who is a veteran, and we were talking about these issues, and he was reminding me that although he understands the isolation that's inherent in caregiving, how important it is to just have the kinds of conversations we were having with people who in real life, who can actually show up and give you a hug and look you in the eyes. And I think also trying to have these conversations with our loved ones, perhaps especially the ones with whom we have strained relationships, to say, this is my reality. And if the start of that conversation is sending this article to them and saying, I haven't been able to express this to you, but this is what people like me feel. And can you read these stories? I think that can be very helpful. And the same for our medical providers that we interact with, to encourage them to engage at that level with people.
Excellent. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for doing this.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah. I
think that there's something there about, I think most of us have family that want to help, whether they're capable of it or not, or, whatever is another discussion. But I think most people's loved ones want to be helpful.
Yes.
I think there's just so much room for misunderstanding because our worlds are so different from what everyone grows up expecting to have.
They don't have the I think it can be explained
mm-hmm.
if you take the time to give them a scenario that they might be able to relate to.
And I think that's one of the moms. Mackenzie spoke to that, saying, it takes time and it takes effort. And I've tried to explain it before as, for me, I've had to be trained to be with my daughter, right? I've had physical therapists, speech therapists, special education teachers, vision teachers, music therapists, all sorts of people. And that's not even including the doctors and nurses and so on, to tell me how to be with my own. There's very little that I do with her that hasn't been influenced by experts.
Yes, I agree.
So if you understand that reality, it isn't as big of a leap to say for a loved one to say, oh, okay, I may also have to be trained, to respond to and interact with this child just like their own parent has. And it isn't insulting if someone is correcting me for how you hold them or how you talk to them. That's just baseline. That's normal for this family. But also I may need that such a thing, to have such an important and essential relationship be dictated by so much complexity and so much medical and scientific sort of rigor would affect a person. And so therefore, as a loved one, I may also need to be taught how to interact with this parent caregiver who's now been changed by these experiences.
It's life-changing.
It is absolutely life-changing.
Every level. Yeah. And I think it'll be really, really helpful for the TSC community. Hillary, thank you so much.
Oh, it's absolutely my pleasure.
I wish you the best, and I will be in touch.
Thank you so much.
Okay, take care.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Right, bye-bye.
Baby, do you understand me now? Sometimes I feel a little mad, but don't you know that no one alive can always be an angel when things go wrong?